Wenshi was also suspicious. It was rare for someone to use the back door, but it was not unheard of. He immediately said, "Churu, come with me to the painting association tomorrow. I'll go and ask about the situation." Wenshi was indeed very powerful. He was once a painting master of a generation. However, his later paintings were not outstanding, and he was gradually pushed down. Wenshi was anxious to consolidate his position, so he found a student to teach. If the student stood out, he could also benefit from it. Wenshi found 2 students. One of the students had gone abroad to further his studies, and now only Qin Sheng remained by his side. Qin Sheng was very talented in painting. Otherwise, a picky person like Wenshi would not have taken a fancy to her. Wenshi had high hopes for Qin Sheng. This time, he wanted to use the youth painting competition to let Qin Sheng start to enter everyone's sights. Step by step, he would make Qin Sheng famous throughout the country, and even throughout the world. Now that those old guys were looking down on him, Wenshi wanted to ruthlessly slap their faces. Now, they were telling him that Qin Sheng didn't even have the qualifications to participate in the youth painting competition? A hint of viciousness flashed through Wenshi's eyes. No matter what, one of the spots in the competition had to be Qin Sheng's. After hanging up the phone, Qin Sheng returned to the living room. Lin Shuya asked worriedly, "Rower, why is Master Qi looking for you?" Qin Sheng smiled. "There might be something fishy about this matter. Teacher said that he would bring me to take a look at the situation tomorrow. If someone really did use a backdoor, he would help me seek justice." Lin Shuya smiled. "Rower, someone must have used some tricks to snatch your spot." "Mom, I'm not sure about this matter. I'll go back to my room first." Qin Sheng walked upstairs, her hand holding her phone tightly. Her face was filled with ruthlessness. "Sheng!" Qin Sheng's name suddenly popped up in her mind, and Qin Sheng immediately denied it. That trash from the countryside didn't even know about the youth painting competition. How could she be Sheng? Old Master Lu called Qin Sheng. To be able to participate in the youth painting competition, Old Master Lu was really proud of Qin Sheng. He had a feeling that his own child had a future. He also hoped to spend more time with Qin Sheng. They only met a few times a week, and he didn't dare to call her often. Previously, he had to call Qin Sheng once every night, but Fu Hanchuan had warned him, limiting him to only call Qin Sheng twice a week. He also limited the time, and the maximum time was half an hour. Otherwise, Fu Hanchuan would not bring Qin Sheng back to the Lu family. How could this work? Old Master Lu was furious. He pointed at Fu Hanchuan and scolded him, trying to use his identity to suppress Fu Hanchuan, saying that he was his elder. That he had to respect the elderly and love the young, that he was his grandfather, and that he had to be filial to him. But in the end, he still succumbed to Fu Hanchuan's threat, and could only accept it aggrievely. Old Master Lu was really stifled. Now, he seized the opportunity to call Qin Sheng. "Sheng Sheng," Old Master Lu said with a smile. Lu Ming looked very speechless. Grandpa Lu was very nice to his sister-in-law, but to him, his expression was terrible. He once again suspected whether his grandfather picked him up from the roadside. "Grandpa Lu." Qin Sheng was drying her hair with a towel. After Grandpa Lu rambled on, he finally got down to business. "Sheng Sheng, have you checked the results of the selection for the youth painting competition in H City?" Qin Sheng's eyebrows were tightly knitted. She had forgotten about this matter. "Is it today?" Grandpa Lu smiled and nodded. "Sheng Sheng, take a guess. Can you enter the youth painting competition?" Qin Sheng was not modest. "If there's no insider help, I can enter." After some thought, she added, "With Grandpa Lu's guidance, the painting won't be bad." Old Master Lu clutched his little heart. His granddaughter was indeed thoughtful. He glared at Lu Ming, his eyes filled with disdain. Lu Ming, who was chewing on a fruit. What did he do wrong again? When Old Master Lu faced Qin Sheng, he grinned again and praised himself very impolitely. "Of course. Your grandfather Lu is a master painter. Many famous people in the painting world will call me master when they see me." "Yes, Grandfather Lu is amazing." Qin Sheng narrowed her eyes slightly and cooperated with Old Master Lu. The smile on Old Master Lu's face became even wider. He announced the result. Qin Sheng is also amazing. The candidates for the youth painting competition this year are you and Wei Cheng. Qin Sheng put down the towel. She had already dried her hair. She was not surprised by this result. Old Master Lu pulled Qin Sheng and said some more words before he could not bear to hang up the phone. Lu Ming held the remote control and chose the channel. He blurted out, "Grandpa, have you gone crazy from epilepsy?" Old Master Lu stopped smiling and looked at his grandson with disdain. The more he looked at him, the more anxious he became. This grandson was clearly here to collect his debt. He wanted to stuff Lu Ming into his mother's womb. Old Master Lu used a walking stick to hit Lu Ming's leg. He was very disgusted. "Get lost." Lu Ming put down the remote control and ran upstairs. He didn't forget to insult Old Master Lu. "Oh right, Grandpa, remember to treat your illness. If sister-in-law sees you as a two-faced person, she will despise you." "Lu Ming!" Old Master Lu's angry roar came from downstairs. Lu Ming had already closed the door, turned on the computer, and logged onto Black Emperor. He held his "the most handsome in the universe" name and pretended to be cool on it. He specifically looked at the QS profile picture, but it did not light up. Lu Ming muttered unhappily, "Sigh, QS, aren't you very arrogant? Now you are like a coward hiding behind your grandson. Do you dare to accept my challenge?" The last time he competed with QS on Black Emperor, he lost terribly. He even lost the money that he had saved for many years. Lu Ming was unwilling, but he knew that his strength could not be compared to QS. So when he went back, he worked hard and practiced time and time again, often pestering Fu Hanchuan. Lu Ming was also very talented in computer technology. Otherwise, under Fu Hanchuan's occasional guidance, he would not have become the 8th-ranked Black Emperor at the age of 17. In just over a month of practice, he had made great progress. Lu Ming wanted to have a competition with QS to regain his face. He had lost all his face in the previous competition. This time, he wanted to torture QS to the point where he would kneel down and call him daddy. Downstairs in the living room, Old Master Lu was half dead from being angered by Lu Ming. He sat on the sofa, grumbling. After calming himself down, he picked up the newspaper on the table. When he saw the news on it, his gaze froze. Qin his student had also participated in the selection for the H-City Youth Painting Competition? Fu Hanchuan had given him the information. Qin Sheng was Qin's student. This Qin Sheng was also in her 3rd year of high school. The time could be matched. Old Master Lu frowned. Qin Sheng had always been competitive. This time, he must have thought that Qin Sheng would be able to obtain one of the spots. Now that these 2 spots belonged to Qin Sheng and Wei Cheng, Qin Sheng would not be satisfied. He was afraid that he would put pressure on the Painting Association and give one of the spots to Qin Sheng. The people of H-City were very clear about Wei Cheng's strength. He would pick the soft persimmon. Qin Sheng did not dare to touch Wei Cheng's spots, so Qin Sheng would replace Qin Sheng. Old Master Lu's face darkened. He had to go to the Painting Association tomorrow. If Qin Sheng's spot was replaced, how much of a blow would she take? The next day was the weekend. Qin Sheng brought Qin Sheng to the Painting Association. Qin Sheng was indeed not as good as before. However, in the painting field, many people still had to call him a senior. However, in the eyes of some respected artists, they looked down on Qin Sheng. When Qin Sheng came over, the members of the Painting Association in H-City recognized him and respectfully welcomed him in. "Call your chairman, Wu Chong, over here," Qin Sheng ordered. "The chairman is at home." The member was in a difficult position. Today was the weekend, and only some members of the association were left on duty here. Most of them were staying at home on vacation. Without any special circumstances, the chairman of the association would not come over. "Call him and tell him that I, Qin Sheng, am looking for him." Qin Sheng's face was stern. "All right, I'll go and ask him." The association member went to make a call. He was very dissatisfied with Qin Sheng. Who was he showing his ugly face to? When Wu Chong heard that, he frowned. "All right, I'll go over right away." He had read the newspaper from yesterday. If nothing went wrong, Qin Sheng was probably here to interrogate him and push his disciple up. It was easy to deal with others, but this Qi Wenshi. Wu Chuang was thinking about countermeasures. The association members poured a glass of water for Qi Wenshi and Qin Sheng. Qi Wenshi asked unintentionally, I heard that a dark horse appeared in the selection of the youth painting competition this time and snatched a spot. The association members could probably guess what Qi Wenshi was talking about. A hint of disdain flashed in his eyes, but his tone was very respectful. It's true. She's an artist called Sheng. The chairman values her paintings very much. Are her paintings very good? Qi Wenshi drank from the cup in his hand, his tone very disdainful. Qin Sheng was also listening attentively. Her hand that was holding the cup was very tight. The association member replied, I did not participate in the selection this time. I am not very sure. However, since the chairman has confirmed it, I think it won't be too bad. Heh, is that so? Qi Wenshi's tone was very mocking. I hope it's not for some other reason. After all, I've seen a lot of this. The association member's expression was stiff. Qi Wenshi's words and tone were all saying that the association was not clean and that there was an inside story. By criticizing their association member like this, the association member also lost his patience. Elder Qi, I still have something to do. I'll go and get busy. The chairman will come over later. After finding an excuse, he left. Only Qi Wenshi and Qin Sheng were left in the reception room. Qin Sheng looked at Qi Wenshi and asked nervously, Teacher, did she rely on her own strength to come here? If she's really that powerful, wouldn't it be bad for us to be like this? Qi Wenshi glanced at Qin Sheng. We're just here to see if there's any inside help. It's fine. Besides. After a pause, Qi Wenshi sneered. No matter what, you have to participate in the youth painting competition. Those who were able to participate in the youth painting competition were all outstanding painters from all over the world. Even if they didn't win an award, they would still be noticed. This was a great shortcut for painters to become famous. Qi Wenshi would not let go of this opportunity. Qin Sheng also understood Qi Wenshi's meaning. Regardless of whether there was a backer or not, she would still have a spot in the youth painting competition. She heaved a sigh of relief. Not long after, Wu Chong also came over. Elder Qi. Wu Chong's attitude was respectful. In the current market, the price of Wu Chong's paintings was much higher than Qi Wenshi's. In the end, Qi Wenshi became famous earlier than him and was once a master of a generation. Wu Chong still had to treat Qi Wenshi with respect. This time, the candidates for our city's youth painting competition are Sheng and Wei Cheng. I don't have any questions about Wei Cheng, but I've never heard of Sheng. I wonder how her painting caught your eye, Chairman Wu? Qi Wenshi said sarcastically. He almost said that Wu Chong was biased toward Sheng. Wu Chong's expression did not change. He smiled and said, I wonder if Elder Qi wants to seek justice for the person beside you? The topic shifted to Qin Sheng. When Wu Chong saw Qin Sheng, he had already guessed that Qin Sheng was Qi Wenshi's student. Yes. Qi Wenshi did not shy away. I think even though my disciple's standard is not as good as Wei Cheng's, it's still more than enough to compare to the others. Wu Chong answered politely, All right, if your disciple is as good as you say, then I will return the spot to her. He looked at Qin Sheng. May I know your name? Qin Sheng answered. Wu Chong nodded and returned to his office to take out 2 paintings. One of them was Qin Sheng's. He opened it and asked, Did you paint this? Yes. Qin Sheng nodded. Qin Sheng drew a scene of a woman kneeling on the ground with a dead child in her arms on a rainy night. Good. Wu Chuang began to comment, This painting does indeed depict the pain of a mother losing her child. However, her pain is only superficial. Her eyes do not convey any pain. In addition, it pays too much attention to painting techniques and the lines are stiff. Instead, it shows more inadequacies. Wu Chong pointed out Qin Sheng's inadequacies sharply, and Qin Sheng's face became stiffer and stiffer. Qi Wenshi's face was not too good. He was angry. He was a master of a generation. Couldn't he leave some face for him? Wu Chong still smiled politely. This painting is very outstanding compared to people of the same age. However, in the youth painting competition, it is not outstanding. In other words, he would not change the quota. Then I would like to see just how good that Sheng's painting is. Qi Wenshi sneered. Wu Chong handed the painting to Qi Wenshi. This is her painting. Qi Wenshi took it. His gaze disdainful. Sheng was just a junior. Qin Sheng had received his guidance, so how could she be inferior to this Sheng? He slowly opened the painting, and what entered his eyes was black. Qi Wenshi sneered. Chairman Wu, is this the good painting you were talking about? Wu Chuang smiled slightly and said, continue looking. Qi Wenshi retracted his gaze. In his heart, he looked down on Wu Chuang, but what was there to be proud of after he became famous? Qi Wenshi's disdainful gaze fell back on the painting. The corner of his lips was a mocking smile. If Sheng's painting was worse than Shuro's, then don't blame him. However, a few seconds later, his expression froze, and the contempt in his eyes turned into shock. Elder Qi, is Sheng's painting better than your disciple's painting? Wu Chuang's tone was still very good. Qi Wenshi looked carefully at the painting, trying to find out something wrong with it. However, he could not find any flaws in it even if he was trying to find a bone to pick. Qi Wenshi raised his head. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that this painting was better than Qin Shuro's. He could not lie. However, it did not mean that he would let it go. This painting was enough to shake the art world. In his third year of high school, she was only 17 or 18 years old. No one would believe that she could make such an outstanding painting. Qi Wenshi sneered and closed the painting. Wu Chong, are you really sure that this painting is made by Sheng? Wu Chong frowned. Elder Qi, are you suspecting that this painting belongs to someone else and Sheng is using someone else's painting to participate in the competition? He had seen many talented people, and Wei Qing was one of them. For Sheng to be able to draw such a painting, it did not mean that she must have plagiarized it. Perhaps there really was such a genius in the world. Qi Wenshi obviously did not have such thoughts. He said disdainfully, even I have to admire this painting very much. But Chairman Wu, you have to see that this Sheng is only in her third year of high school. At the age of 17 or 18, how could she paint such a good painting? The person who made this painting doesn't have to be very old. They have to be at least 30 years old. Also, the person in this painting shows the vicissitudes of life and pain in their eyes. If they have not experienced some things, how could they draw it? Wu Chong fell silent. Even though he had been very impressed and trusted Sheng, he could not help but doubt her. This painting was indeed something that she had never experienced before, and it was very difficult to draw. Qi Wenshi sneered. Chairman Wu, how can you let a person with such a bad character like her enter the youth painting competition? If she is found out, your association's reputation will collapse. I think, Chairman Wu, you won't let a piece of rat poop spoil a pot of porridge. Wu Chong. Then what do you mean, Elder Qi? Cancel Sheng's participation quota and at the same time, announce to the public that she found someone else's painting to participate in the competition. Qi Wenshi was going to completely ban Qin Sheng. Once this was announced, she would not be able to participate in any painting competitions in the future, and it would be the end of the painting world. The painting world had very strict requirements in this area. Wu Chong naturally thought of this and frowned. I still need to investigate. If it's true, I'll do as you say, Elder Qi. He was a little suspicious, but he would not simply rely on his guesses to announce this. If it was really her painting, he would be killing a painting genius. Wu Chong would not be so hasty. Is there a need to investigate? It's a done deal. Qi Wenshi snorted coldly. Chairman Wu, are you trying to cover up for Sheng? Wu Chong refused to let go. Elder Qi, there has to be evidence. Need be. If he was wrong, Sheng's life might be ruined. Qi Wenshi mocked. It seems that you are determined to protect Sheng. Wu Chong, don't regret it. Who are you protecting? A strong voice came from the door. Qi Wenshi frowned and looked over. Old Master Lu walked in. The first thing he saw was Qi Wenshi and Qin Shuru, and his face darkened. As expected, he had come over. If he hadn't come today, that girl Sheng Sheng might have suffered a lot. When Wu Chong saw Old Master Lu, he quickly went up to him. His attitude was much better than Qi Wenshi's. Old Master Lu. His tone was very respectful. Old Master Lu was the #1 artist in China, so Qi Wenshi naturally knew Old Master Lu. When Qi Wenshi had just become famous, he didn't know how high the sky was, so he contradicted Old Master Lu and was taught a lesson by Old Master Lu. Later on, he held a grudge against Old Master Lu and went against him many times. However, Old Master Lu had become the #1 person in the painting industry. Qi Wenshi could only take a detour when he saw Old Master Lu. Many people in the circle had even mocked Qi Wenshi because of this matter. At this moment, when they met, Qi Wenshi also called out indignantly, "Old Master Lu." Old Master Lu glanced sideways at Qi Wenshi and walked to the sofa to sit down. "Tell me, who is Wu Chong protecting?" Qi Wenshi also knew that Old Master Lu hated people who behaved improperly the most. He said righteously, "It's a person who won a spot in the youth painting competition. Her painting this time was plagiarized. Do you have evidence?" "Not yet." Qi Wenshi choked out this sentence. "Oh, so sure?" Old Master Lu raised his eyebrows. "Then I want to see how good her painting is." "She can make you say that she cheated without any evidence?" "Elder Lu, this Sheng's painting doesn't look like something that can be drawn at her age. We don't need any evidence to prove that she used someone else's painting," Qi Wenshi said confidently. "But..." Wu Chong was about to retort when he was interrupted by Elder Lu's wave of his hand. "Chairman Wu, please show Sheng's drawing to me." Old Master Lu was very proud. He did not expect Qin Sheng's painting to be so good that others would think that it was not her own work. Wu Chong could only give the painting to Old Master Lu. Old Master Lu opened the painting and looked at it with great interest. He nodded repeatedly. The first time Qin Sheng showed it to him, he was already very shocked. Now that he was looking at it, the painting was far better than he had imagined. In the art world, it was an existence that was highly sought after. "Elder Lu, how is it?" Qi Wenshi asked. "Is what I said true?" Elder Lu touched his chin, his expression shocked. He said seriously, "Good, that's great. This painting is the best I've ever seen." Even this old man was amazed. She displayed her feelings of sorrow and regret to the fullest. Painting within a painting, this Sheng is really a genius. He was not only praising the painting, but also praising Sheng. Qi Wenshi tried to insert words several times, but he couldn't do anything. Old Master Lu's attitude clearly showed that he believed this was painted by Sheng. Qi Wenshi's expression was gloomy, and Qin Sheng's expression was not too good either. After praising for nearly 5 minutes, Old Master Lu finally stopped. "Old Master Lu, what do you think? With her age, is it possible that she can draw a painting of this level?" Qi Wenshi asked tentatively. Old Master Lu replied impolitely, "If you don't have this level, does it mean that others can't paint a painting of this level?" Qi Wenshi's face was no longer fawning. He said in a deep voice, "Old Master Lu, don't you hate it the most when someone fakes a painting? It seems that you're just SOSO. Qin Sheng couldn't help but say in a very soft voice, "Isn't this purely protecting Sheng?" Wu Chong looked at the two of them speechlessly. They were indeed teacher and student. He could tell that regardless of whether Sheng was faking it or not, Qi Wenshi was going to pin the crime of faking on her. Old Master Lu sneered. "You two are meddling in my affairs. Do you have the right?" Qi Wenshi's expression froze. Qin Sheng's expression was extremely ugly. Although she did not know Old Master Lu, Wu Chong and Qi Wenshi had to address him as senior and master. Their status in the painting industry was very high. Now that she was ridiculed by Old Master Lu, Qin Sheng stood behind Qi Wenshi and tried her best to minimize her presence. Qin Sheng didn't want to offend these important figures in the painting industry. Qi Wenshi straightened his neck and said, "Old Master Lu, I took you as a master because of your good character. Since you covered up for this fake Sheng, I don't have to respect you anymore." Wu Chong couldn't hold it in anymore. Elder Lu was his idol. Now that Elder Lu was being ridiculed, he stood up. "Elder Qi, you want to claim that Sheng is a fake just because you have a mouth and no evidence?" Wu Chong looked at Qin Sheng meaningfully and said mockingly, "I'm afraid you want to pave the way for your student." Qi Wenshi's face instantly turned red after his thoughts were hit. Old Master Lu felt bored and didn't want to act with them anymore. He had said so much to them just now because he was bored at home. It wasn't easy for him to come out, so he thought it was just for fun. Does my student still need to fake it? Old Master Lu threw out this bomb. Qi Wenshi was a little stunned. Sheng was his student? Didn't Lu Zhongguo say that he didn't accept students? As the number one person in the painting circle, naturally many people wanted to find Old Master Lu to take him as their teacher. Old Master Lu found it troublesome, so he announced that he didn't accept students. At this moment, Qi Wenshi also had some doubts. He really didn't believe that Old Master Lu would accept students. Wu Chong was also very surprised. The little doubt in his heart was completely dispelled. If Sheng was a talented person and received the guidance of Old Master Lu, it wouldn't be surprising for her to be able to make such a painting. As for Qin Sheng, she clenched her fists tightly. She was very unwilling. She had already determined that this spot was hers, but it was snatched away by Sheng. Her teacher had also said that he wanted to seek justice for her. And now? It was not easy for her to make some progress, but she was told that Sheng was the student of this old man in front of her. This old man was an existence that both Wu Chuang and her teacher had no choice but to respect. Qin Sheng's heart surged with anger. Her spot had actually been snatched away by a nobody. Clearly, this spot belonged to her. Qin Sheng was very unwilling, but she did not dare to go against Old Master Lu. After Qi Wenshi recovered from his shock, he said mockingly, "Master Lu, in order to protect Sheng, you even dare to lie that she is your student. You are blemishing my reputation." Old Master Lu's face was dark. "If she is not my student, I will withdraw from the painting world." Qi Wenshi was completely silent. Wu Chong smiled apologetically and said, "Old Master Lu, your reputation is better than someone else's. I naturally believe you." He then looked at Qi Wenshi, and there was no longer any respect on his face. "Elder Qi, this small temple of mine cannot accommodate a great Buddha like you. Please go ahead." He pointed in the direction of the door. This was an order to drive him away. Qi Wenshi's face was flushed red. He was going to lose all of his old face here today. Even if Wu Chong did not say anything, he did not want to stay any longer. He looked at Qin Sheng and said, "Let's go." Qin Sheng stood where she was and did not want to leave. She pinched the corner of her shirt and made up her mind. She bowed and asked, "Chairman Wu, can you tell me the real name of this Sheng?" Qin Sheng had a feeling that she knew this Sheng and it was someone close to her. She could only think of Qin Sheng and subconsciously rejected Qin Sheng as Sheng. Worried that Wu Churu would misunderstand, Qin Sheng added, "I just want to know who she is. She's so powerful, so I want to ask her for some advice." She looked like she was sincerely asking for advice from a student. Old Master Lu's face darkened. If Qin Sheng found out that Sheng was Qin Sheng, she might trip Sheng up. Wu Chuang saw Old Master Lu's expression and understood. Even if Old Master Lu did not care, he would not reveal Sheng's real name without permission. He rejected, "No." Qin Sheng's expression was awkward. Old Master Lu recognized that this was the person who had stolen Qin Sheng's identity and life. Naturally, he would not let Qin Sheng off so easily. His gaze was mocking and sarcastic. Just now, Qi Wenshi was still thinking of forcefully pinning the crime of fraud on Sheng. He is your teacher. Now, you want to ask Sheng for advice. Isn't this slapping your teacher's face? Qin Sheng looked at Qi Wenshi nervously. As expected, she saw Qi Wenshi's dark face and explained anxiously, "Teacher, no, I..." "Go back," Qi Wenshi said in a deep voice. "Qi Wenshi." Old Master Lu was unwilling to let Qi Wenshi go so easily. He raised his voice and mocked, "You can't paint, you're jealous, and you like to be petty. It seems that your taste in taking in disciples isn't good either. What kind of teacher you have is what kind of disciple you have." When Wu Chuang and the members of the association heard this, they lowered their heads and held back their laughter. Their shoulders kept shaking. Qi Wenshi's face alternated between green and white, like a color palette. No one knew whether he was embarrassed or angry. He glared at Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng's face was pale. She slowly moved toward Qi Wenshi. If others said that Qi Wenshi couldn't paint, Qi Wenshi would definitely retort back. However, this was Old Master Lu, the #1 artist in the painting industry. Now, one of his paintings had been sold for a sky-high price. Qi Wenshi couldn't refute Old Master Lu's words. Let's go. Qi Wenshi's tone was very unpleasant. Qi Wenshi and Qin Sheng left. Wu Chong stepped forward and said, Old Master Lu, do you think it's possible to let Sheng join our association? Don't worry, our association will not mistreat her. Elder Lu was Sheng's teacher. With his guidance, Sheng's future in the painting world not be bad. Moreover, Sheng was also talented. To be able to create such a painting at such a young age, she would probably stand at Elder Lu's level in the future. If Sheng entered H City's painting association, when she became famous later, the association would also benefit from it. Elder Lu naturally guessed Wu Chong's thoughts. He looked at Wu Chong. Wu Chong felt a little guilty and smiled ingratiatingly. Old Master Lu snorted coldly and walked out with his hands behind his back. I can't make this decision. You'd better go find her yourself. Thank you, Old Master Lu. Old Master Lu smiled. Sheng wouldn't agree to this. Her personality hated annoying things like this. However, he was soon slapped in the face. Outside the door, Qin Sheng followed behind Qi Wenshi with her head lowered. She pinched the hem of her dress and was very nervous. Qi Wenshi stopped. Qin Sheng's heart was almost in her throat. Why did you say those words in there just now? Are you complaining that Lu Zhonggua is better than me? Qin Sheng, do you want to be his student? Qi Wenshi stared at Qin Sheng with burning eyes. Qin Sheng hurriedly shook her head, and fine beads of cold sweat appeared on her forehead. She explained in a panic, I was just curious about who she is. I feel like she's someone I know. Teacher, I don't dislike you. Qi Wenshi snorted coldly. You don't have the ability yet. Qin Sheng was talented and had a sweet mouth. She was obedient. Qi Wenshi had liked Qin Sheng before, but today he was a little dissatisfied. If Qin Sheng had not failed him, why would he come here today to receive such ridicule? In the end, Qin Sheng even suggested asking Lu Zhonggua's student for advice, and even in front of him. Wasn't this a slap to his face? The more Qi Wenshi looked at Qin Sheng, the more he disliked her. Previously, he had thought that she was extremely talented in this generation. At least, he had never met anyone who was more talented than his other student. Today, Lu Zhonggua told him that he had taken in a disciple. She was 17 or 18 years old, and she had already painted such a painting. If she had really painted it, then her talent was even higher than the two students under him. Qi Wenshi could not accept this. In this lifetime, he could not be compared to Lu Zhonggua. He placed his hopes on his two students and taught them wholeheartedly. He hoped that one day, they would stand at the top of the painting world and help him fight for his reputation. Wei Cheng's talent surpassed Qin Sheng's, which made him unhappy. Fortunately, his other student was more powerful than Wei Cheng. Now, he was telling him that another Sheng had come? At such a young age, she could paint a painting that could shake the entire painting world? Qin Sheng, don't blame me for not reminding you. This Sheng's talent is much higher than yours. If you still want to enter the painting world and become the best, then work hard. Qi Wenshi warned in a deep voice. Qin Sheng quickly nodded in agreement. Teacher, I'll definitely work hard. If you're not up to par and can't help yourself, I won't need to teach you anymore. Qi Wenshi's expression did not soften. Qin Sheng humbly agreed again. After saying this, Qi Wenshi did not leave with Qin Sheng. He drove away on his own. Qin Sheng stood where she was, her heart filled with resentment towards Qi Wenshi. Her talent was high. If Qi Wenshi was as powerful as that old fart, how could she not be as good as Sheng? Qin Sheng blamed it all on Qi Wenshi. Not long after, Old Master Lu also left the association. Qin Sheng saw Old Master Lu get into a luxury car. She knew that car. It was a limited edition car that was as high as 50 million yuan. And her teacher only drove a car that was worth a few million yuan. Qin Sheng took out her phone and entered Lu Zhonggua's name. Not long after, Lu Zhonggua's encyclopedia popped up. Lu Zhonggua was the #1 painter in China. At the age of 25, he was already famous all over the country. At the age of 35, he won the 3rd place in the global painting competition. At the age of 50, he was named the #1 painter in the country. Qin Sheng stared at her phone screen, feeling more and more indignant. She thought that Qi Wenshi was strong enough, but she didn't expect Qi Wenshi to be so weak. Compared to Lu Zhonghua, Qi Wenshi was very weak. If she became Lu Zhonggua's disciple, Qin Shi's mind became active. With Lu Zhonggua's guidance, she would definitely be better than Wei Qing and Sheng. She would also be better than Qi Wenshi's other student. Qin family. Lin Shuya had been waiting for Qin Shiru since the beginning of the day. Qin Hai was also very concerned about whether Qin Shiru could participate in the youth painting competition this time. He sat on the sofa and read the financial newspapers. When Qin Shiru returned, Lin Shuya went up to greet her. "Roar, how's the situation?" Qin Shiru's expression didn't look too good. Hearing her words, Qin Shiru's tears kept falling. "Mom, she has a backer. Even if she faked it, teacher can't do anything about it." When Qin Shiru cried, Lin Shuya's heart ached. She quickly comforted her. "Roar, don't participate anymore. There are many ways to become famous. We don't care about this small youth painting competition." Qin Hai only felt a headache. It was fine to cry once or twice, but Qin Shiru cried every time something happened to her. Qin Hai was really annoyed. He put down the newspaper and said in a deep voice, "Don't cry anymore, Roar. You're not young anymore. You can't just cry." Qin Shiru's heart sank. She wanted to use crying to win Lin Shuya and Qin Hai's sympathy so that they didn't pursue the matter. In the past, it had always been successful. Now, Qin Hai was obviously impatient. Indeed, in the face of benefits, she was nothing. Qin Shiru wiped away her tears. Her shoulders were still faintly trembling. She looked like she wanted to cry but didn't dare to. Lin Shuya hugged Qin Shiru's shoulders and comforted her. Seeing that Qin Shiru's mood had improved a little, Lin Shuya glared at Qin Hai. "Just this small matter, and you're yelling at Roar like this. Qin Hai, don't forget that Roar is a natural-born phoenix. Ever since she was born, our family has been going smoothly. Along the way, we got a few big contracts, and the company is getting bigger and bigger. If it weren't for Roar, would you be able to become the president?" Lin Shuya was like a lioness protecting her cub, her entire body covered in thorns. However, she was only protecting her adopted daughter. In front of her own daughter, she was cold and heartless, never willing to take another look. When Qin Hai heard Lin Shuya's words, his face finally did not look so bad. He rubbed the space between his eyebrows. "That's true. However, in the past month, the company has encountered all kinds of problems and it has not been very smooth. Qin Hai's business ability was not good. However, in the past 17 years, the company had not suffered any setbacks. On the contrary, many cases had come to their doorstep. Qin real estate had also developed. In the past month, first HD Group had withdrawn their cooperation, then HD Group had snatched a piece of land. Now, there were all kinds of minor problems. These days, Qin Hai had almost always left early and returned late. The company's matters had made him mentally and physically exhausted. When Lin Shuya heard this, she was also very surprised. Qin Hai rarely told her about the company's matters, so she thought that the company had not encountered any major problems. Lin Shuya lowered her eyes and thought for a while. In the past month, didn't Qin Sheng just return to the Qin family not long ago? With this in mind, Lin Shuya voiced out her guess. "Brother Hai, could it be because of Qin Sheng? You see, the company didn't go well, and Roar also suffered a lot of grievances. Didn't all of this happen when Qin Sheng returned? It's possible. Roar's bad exam and her failure to participate in the youth painting competition were all because of Qin Sheng." Qin Hai Saoen. Lin Shuya continued, "Our Roar is blessed. Qin Sheng is born with bad luck. Whoever comes into contact with her will be unlucky. I'm afraid that Roar's luck will be squandered by her. I told you, Brother Hai, you shouldn't have brought her back in the first place. If Qin Sheng was kicked out of the Qin family, our family might have gotten better again." Qin Hai fell into deep thought. He was already a little suspicious. Could it really be because of Qin Sheng? Qin Hai did not lack Qin Sheng as a daughter. She was born with weak feelings. Qin Sheng had not been raised by his side since she was young. Qin Sheng was just a tool for him to exchange for benefits. If Qin Sheng was really unlucky, he could give her up at any time. In Qin Hai's eyes, there were only benefits. He still said nonchalantly, Whether Qin Sheng is unlucky or not, she is our biological daughter. Don't talk about chasing her out of the Qin family. She is still in her 3rd year of high school. If we chase her out, where else can she go? Isn't that pushing her to her death? Brother Hai. Lin Shuya wanted to persuade him again, but Qin Hai interrupted her. All right, I'm going to take a nap. Qin Hai put down the newspaper and left the living room. Doesn't Qin Sheng just have a good face? Lin Shuya said unhappily, there are many good-looking women. How much benefit can a face bring to the Qin Corporation? Mom, I think Dad is considering your words. There was a trace of sobbing in Qin Churu's soft voice. Lin Shuya's expression softened. I hope he is aware of that. Qin Churu hesitated for a while and said, Mom, sister shouldn't have the bad luck you mentioned. Lin Shuya was furious at the mention of this. If Qin Sheng's bad luck hadn't affected Qin Churu, how could Qin Churu have failed the exam? How could she be ridiculed by those people when she attended the parent-teacher conference? She sneered. Roar, remember, Qin Sheng is not your sister. Our Qin family doesn't have a daughter like her. You don't have to be nice to her. Sooner or later, I will get her out of the Qin family. Worried that Qin Sheng would affect Qin Churu's good fortune, Lin Shuya reminded, Roar, stay away from your sister in the future. Seeing that Qin Churu did not agree, Lin Shuya was unusually serious. Be good. Qin Churu bit her lower lip and nodded awkwardly. Fu Hanchuan had been paying attention to the news of Qin Sheng. The first thing he learned was that Qin Sheng had become one of the 2 spots and she could participate in the youth painting competition. Fu Hanchuan came to the Qin family to look for Qin Sheng the next day. Fu Hanchuan naturally wouldn't miss the opportunity to see Qin Sheng. Sheng, congratulations, Fu Hanchuan said in a low and hoarse voice. Qin Sheng heard Fu Hanchuan's words as soon as she got into the car. Her hand that was holding the seatbelt paused. She quickly realized that Fu Hanchuan was talking about the painting. Qin Sheng smiled and said, Thank you. Then, a tall figure leaned down in front of her. It was Fu Hanchuan. His hand touched the seatbelt of Qin Sheng's seat. Qin Sheng leaned back. She rarely had such close contact with boys. She was very uncomfortable now. Brother Fu. Qin Sheng was still thinking about what to say when Fu Hanchuan turned his head and his thin lips brushed past Qin Sheng's face. Huh? A low and hoarse voice came out from his throat. Qin Sheng's ears were slightly red. It's okay. A hint of a smile flashed across Fu Hanchuan's eyes. After fastening Qin Sheng's seatbelt, he sat up straight. Brother Fu, where are we going? Qin Sheng asked. Fu Hanchuan smiled. The amusement park. The amusement park. Qin Sheng was stunned. This was her first time going there. When she was young, she didn't even dare to imagine having a full meal, let alone request to go to the amusement park. Fu Hanchuan started the car. Soon, they arrived at the largest amusement park in H City. Many parents accompanied their children to the amusement park, and many of them were couples. Fu Hanchuan waited in line under the sun for more than 10 minutes before he managed to buy 2 tickets. Qin Sheng walked out from under the shade of the trees. Qin Sheng wanted to line up with Fu Hanchuan, but Fu Hanchuan was afraid of exposing Qin Sheng to the sun. The little girl's jade-white skin would leave a red mark if he used a little strength. If she was exposed to the sun, her skin might turn red. Fu Hanchuan naturally couldn't bear to let her go. Thus, he asked Qin Sheng to wait for him under the shade of the tree. Let's go in, Fu Hanchuan said softly when he saw Qin Sheng walking over. Okay. Fu Hanchuan entered the amusement park. He first took Qin Sheng to the merry-go-round. When they passed by the roller coaster, his eyes flashed. He turned his head and asked Qin Sheng, Sheng, do you want to play? Qin Sheng looked at the person who was screaming on the roller coaster and her interest was piqued. She nodded her head. The roller coaster just now ended very quickly. The 2 of them got on the roller coaster. The roller coaster was traveling at an extremely high speed. One moment, it was like a rocket climbing up the slope, and the next moment, it slid down heavily. The screams were ear-piercing. Fu Hanchuan looked at the girl who was screaming and jumping into her boyfriend's arms. His gaze fell on Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng didn't seem to be afraid at all. She closed her eyes and looked like she was enjoying herself. Fu Anchuan. He rubbed the space between his eyebrows. It was a headache. He hoped that Qin Sheng would be a little more afraid now. However, looking at Qin Sheng, his mood slowly improved. Fu Hanchuan's gaze slowly moved to Qin Sheng's lips. His gaze darkened. Perhaps it was because the roller coaster was too fast. Qin Sheng did not notice that Fu Hanchuan had been looking at her. After the two of them landed on the ground. Are we still playing? Fu Hanchuan could see that when Qin Sheng was riding the roller coaster, she was not as afraid of screaming as other girls. Instead, she was relaxing and enjoying herself. His little girl was indeed very different. Qin Sheng looked at Fu Hanchuan. Fu Hanchuan also saw through Qin Sheng's intention to play. Then, they took Qin Sheng on a roller coaster ride. Next, the swing hammer, the pirate ship, bungee jumping, the skydiving machine. They had almost played all of these thrilling events. Qin Sheng's hair was a little messy, and there was a visible excitement in her eyes. Fu Hanchuan lowered his eyes and reached out to straighten Qin Sheng's hair. Seeing the little girl's excited look, he felt a headache coming on. You still want to play? Qin Sheng nodded. When she was playing those thrilling and exciting events, she truly felt relaxed. She didn't have the memories of her past life. All right, let's play the last one. Fu Hanchuan and Qin Sheng arrived at the haunted house. At the entrance, a couple had just come out of the haunted house. They were hugging each other tightly, and their legs were still trembling. It was obvious that they were scared out of their wits. The woman's lips were trembling, and her face had lost all color. I won't come again. I'm scared to death. Her boyfriend's expression was also very ugly. He hugged the woman tightly. All right, darling. I'll listen to you. Even if she didn't say it, he wouldn't have come. It was simply not a place for people to come. Fu Hanchuan's lips curled into a smile, and his eyes seemed to have starlight. Fu Hanchuan thought that this time, Qin Sheng was going to be afraid. His fingertips moved slightly. He wrapped Qin Sheng's hand in his palm. Brother Fu, you? Qin Sheng looked at Fu Hanchuan in surprise. Fu Hanchuan's palm was very warm, but Qin Sheng was still not used to it. Fu Hanchuan's lips curled up slightly. It's very dark inside. Hold hands. We won't get lost. Fu Hanchuan spoke very frankly, and Qin Sheng was someone who believed in Fu Hanchuan, so she did not have any doubts. She let Fu Hanchuan lead her into the haunted house. Fu Hanchuan's peripheral vision fell on the hand he was holding, and the smile on his lips deepened. The first thing they entered was a corridor. Red light and green light interweaved, and there were specks of ghost fire. The couple who came in with them already had pale faces, and they walked very carefully. After passing through the corridor, they were already inside the haunted house. The empty voices echoed in the room. Help! It's all your fault that I'm dead. I'll definitely come back and take your life. I want to go out. You're courting death. I'll take your life. There were more than 10 ghosts floating around. Red clothes, white clothes. Their faces were lit up, and their makeup was on as well. The moment they appeared, they frightened a large portion of the people. Screams continued to ring out. There were both boys and girls. Fu Hanchuan turned his head to look at Qin Sheng, but the room was too dark to see the expression on her face. But the hand in his hand told him that Qin Sheng was not afraid. Ah? A girl was so scared that she threw herself into the arms of another boy. Fu Hanchuan. The veins on his forehead twitched. But he was consoling himself. It should be that the current situation was not enough to cause too much fear. Some people were so scared that they left the haunted house. The other group wiped the sweat off their foreheads and continued to walk forward. On the road, a ghost would occasionally appear. It would either emerge from the ground or hang upside down in front of the tourists from the roof. It would also pat the tourists' shoulders from behind. Some people could not take it anymore and left. Qin Sheng and Fu Hanchuan came to a stone room. There were more than 10 coffins placed on it. They were looking around when suddenly, the coffin closest to them slowly opened. The sound was especially obvious in this quiet room. Qin Sheng and Fu Hanchuan looked over. A zombie slowly sat up from the coffin. His face was very pale and there was a layer of white light shining on it. Qin Sheng looked at it without blinking. She didn't seem to be afraid at all. Fu Hanchuan's heart jumped when this zombie appeared, and he subconsciously looked at Qin Sheng, waiting for Qin Sheng to jump into his arms. However, they didn't get anything. Fu Hanchuan looked at Qin Sheng with a little resentment. Then, all the coffins were opened, and the zombies came out. There were 10 zombies in total, and they all jumped in the direction of Qin Sheng and Fu Hanchuan. 2 sharp teeth popped out of their mouths. The people who came in from behind were stunned when they saw this scene. When they came back to their senses, they were all scared and ran out. They were accompanied by waves of screams of fear. A group of people squeezed at the entrance. No one was willing to give way, so they blocked the entrance. Only Fu Hanchuan and Qin Sheng stood where they were and did not move. The group of zombies surrounded them. No matter what the zombies did, Fu Hanchuan and Qin Sheng were not afraid at all. Zombies. Were all humans so courageous nowadays? They really gave up and turned around to jump towards the people who were blocked at the entrance. Ah! Screams continued to ring out. The people who managed to squeeze out with great difficulty swarmed towards the exit of the haunted house. The haunted house was indeed not a place for humans to stay. The zombies chased for a long distance before returning. Qin Sheng and Fu Hanchuan slowly walked out of the room. There were only 5 people left in the entire haunted house. Other than Qin Sheng and Fu Hanchuan, the other 3 followed behind them. These 2 were not afraid, so it was not wrong for them to follow them. The result proved that they followed them correctly. The 5 of them entered a few more rooms, and each of them was more exciting than the coffin room. Of course, Qin Sheng and Fu Hanchuan were not afraid at all. The other 3 screamed and screamed, but hiding behind Qin Sheng and Fu Hanchuan, they felt much more at ease. They walked through the haunted house one by one. Qin Sheng did not show any fear from the beginning to the end, not to mention jumping into the arms of the man next to her like the other girls. Fu Hanchuan's little plan had failed. He could not help but ask, "Sheng Sheng, aren't you afraid?" Qin Sheng blinked, feeling very strange. They are all real people. They just added some makeup and light. Why should I be afraid? Fu Hanchuan. The other 3 people who followed them. So this was how a Bigshot consoled themselves. They had learned it. Looking at the haunted house again, they thought of what Qin Sheng had said just now, and their fear faded a lot. The little kid who was about to come out of a big bucket. He silently put away the head that had just popped out. Bang! He did not forget to close the lid. This kind of human was not to be trifled with. It was safer in the bucket. Hearing this, Fu Hanchuan pinched the space between his eyebrows, feeling a headache. When would Sheng Sheng understand his thoughts? What Fu Hanchuan did not know was that even if he really liked Qin Sheng, who had a negative EQ, and had feelings for her, Qin Sheng would hardly notice it. After the 2 of them left the haunted house, they went for a meal. After they came out of the hotel, they were bumped into by Qin Sheng's lackey, Zhao Jia. Zhao Jia didn't believe Fu Hanchuan when he said he was Qin Sheng's brother. If Qin Sheng really had such a rich brother that pampered her so much, she wouldn't have grown up in the countryside. Moreover, their surnames were Fu and Qin, not the same surname. To say that they were brother and sister was just to deceive fools. A brother could also be a brother in love. At this moment, the 2 of them even entered the hotel together. Only a fool would believe that they were innocent. Zhao Jia hid behind a pillar, took out her phone, and took a picture of the 2 of them. She saw with her own eyes that Qin Sheng was protected by Fu Hanchuan into a luxury car. Unwillingness slowly welled up in her heart, and Zhao Jia's eyes were filled with jealousy. Zhao Jia was unwilling to accept it. They were both from the countryside, so why did Qin Sheng find such a man so easily and get into such a luxurious car? Food, clothing, and accommodation were the best. As for her, she entered Class 1 with her good grades. Class 1 was full of good grades. She was also the best student in her junior high school class, but in Class 1, her grades could only be considered average. Because of her poor family background, she was looked down upon by Liang Hua in Class 1, and she was often mocked and ridiculed in front of her classmates. Later on, she lived in H City and didn't dare to buy snacks to eat. She only wore cheap clothes that cost dozens of yuan. She only fawned over Qin Shuru, so her food in school was better. Why was the gap between her and Qin Sheng so big? She was really unwilling. However, just because she couldn't deal with Qin Sheng didn't mean that Qin Churu couldn't deal with her. Didn't Qin Churu like Fu Hanchuan the most? Zhao Jia smiled sinisterly and sent the photo she just took to Qin Churu. From her point of view, the two of them were very flirtatious. She thought about it and added another paragraph. Churu, I just saw Qin Sheng and her brother, the one who came to attend the parent-teacher conference. I just happened to see them coming out of the hotel. If I didn't know that they were brother and sister, I would have really thought that they were a sweet couple. Sigh, it would be great if they weren't brother and sister. They look really compatible. Zhao Jia stared at this paragraph and the corners of her lips curled up into a mocking smile. She could already see Qin Churu's bashful expression turning into anger. Qin Churu's family was rich. If Qin Churu really attacked Qin Sheng, it would be difficult for Qin Sheng to resist. She just sat and watched, waiting for Qin Sheng to fall. The fact that Qin Sheng was being kept by another man had been proven. Presumably, she would be kicked out of school. Qin Churu was also an idiot. In the past 3 years, she had been used by her to do a lot of things. On the surface, Qin Churu looked weak and understanding, but behind her back, she was disgusting. If things went wrong, she would use her as a punching bag. If Qin Churu's family wasn't rich, she wouldn't suck up to her. Near the Qin residence, Fu Hanchuan stopped the car. Sheng Sheng. Fu Hanchuan took out a gift bag. Qin Sheng's hand that was unfastening the seatbelt paused. She tilted her head and asked in confusion, This is a gift for you. Take it as a reward for winning H-City's selection. Qin Sheng took it and opened the bag in front of Fu Hanchuan. When she saw what was inside, Qin Sheng's face froze. A bag of white rabbit milk candy, a handwritten notebook, and an exercise book. Niai. Sheng Sheng, the notebook in there is something that I have concluded based on the college entrance exams over the past few years. It might be something that will be tested. Fu Hanchuan had been preparing this notebook for a long time. At that time, he thought that Qin Sheng's grades were bad, so he had to help her prepare for the college entrance exams. After working hard for a few days, Qin Sheng was the first in the grade this time. Fu Hanchuan was naturally happy that Qin Sheng was the first, and he also had some small resentment. This notebook did not have any function to improve Qin Sheng's grades. However, Fu Hanchuan did not give up on preparing. Qin Sheng was also a person who despised trouble, so this could save a lot of time for revision. Hearing this, Qin Sheng carefully flipped through a few pages. Fu Hanchuan's results were also at the peak, so his preparation was naturally not too bad. This notebook was just enough for her to slack off. Qin Sheng smiled. Brother Fu, thank you. After returning from the painting association, Qin Churu only opened the message when she was alone in her room at night. The first message was Zhao Jia's. Qin Churu frowned and opened it. What entered her eyes was a photo. Before she could see it clearly, Qin Churu was inexplicably angry. She opened it. The first thing she saw in the photo was Fu Hanchuan lowering his head and smiling. His lips were even kissing Qin Sheng's forehead. Her anger was rising. Qin Sheng. Why did she have to come back? Why did she have to go against her everywhere? Why did she have to snatch away the things that she liked? If not for Qin Sheng, she would not have ranked outside the top 10 in this exam. Without her, Fu Hanchuan would be hers. Qin Churu learned of Fu Hanchuan's name from class 4. She also knew that Fu Hanchuan was claiming to be Qin Sheng's brother because he wanted to protect Qin Sheng and not give her any trouble. Fu Hanchuan actually did this for Qin Sheng. What was Qin Sheng better than her? Qin Churu's desire to take old Master Lu as her teacher became stronger and stronger. As long as she was outstanding enough, Fu Hanchuan would look at her more. As long as Fu Hanchuan was willing to look at her, she had the confidence to keep Fu Hanchuan by her side. Monday, in the teacher's office. A few teachers were sitting at their desks preparing for their lessons. Liang Hua walked in. She came to work at the time when the bell rang. Oh, a certain lady is here. The form teacher of class 2 saw Liang Hua and spoke sarcastically. Isn't that right? She always comes the latest and leaves the earliest. She has a big background. Which teacher in our school has more glory than her? The form teacher of class 3 mocked. In the past, they had also been bullied badly by Liang Hua. Now that they had a chance to turn the tables, they would mock Liang Hua whenever they saw her. Don't go too far, Liang Hua said in a deep voice, her gaze unkind. The form teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 instinctively shrank their necks back. They were used to being bullied by Liang Hua. They had a fear of Liang Hua from the bottom of their hearts. However, the more they bullied, the stronger the rebound. When they reacted, the form teachers of Class 2 and 3 despised her. They had something in their hands that Liang Hua was scared of. Liang Hua wouldn't be able to stir up trouble. What was there to be afraid of? If they really retaliated, they would at most lose their jobs. And Liang Hua would be abandoned. Without Qin Sheng, with Liang Hua's ability, it would be difficult to survive in H City. The form teacher of Class 2 puffed out her chest. She chuckled coldly. Liang Hua, who are you trying to scare? Do you really think that I will fawn over you like I did in the past? Let me tell you, it's your turn to fawn over us now. As long as I tell others about your relationship with him, do you think that you, the teacher, and the head of the academic affairs office, can still be the teacher? Liang Hua was so angry that her entire body was trembling. Her face was green and purple, but she did not dare to retort. She wanted to fight to the death with them, but she could not bear to part with the good life she had now. She was living a good life. The reason why she was able to strut around in H City High School was all because of Qin Sheng. If Qin Sheng did not want her, she would be very miserable in H City. Liang Hua could only apologize to them. The words that came out of her mouth were almost squeezed out word by word. I'm sorry. It was my fault. I shouldn't have said such harsh words to you. The form teacher of Class 3 snorted. Wouldn't it have been better if we had done this earlier? Liang Hua was holding back her anger and had nowhere to vent it. The form teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 no longer paid attention to Liang Hua and buried their heads in preparing for the lesson. Now that the third year of high school was filled with anxiety, they, as the class teachers, needed to accompany the students and teach them well. The form teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 were still very dedicated to the students in their own class. They would not mock the students with poor grades like Liang Hua. Instead, they were very concerned about them. The students of Class 2 and Class 3 also had a high evaluation of their class teachers. Knock, knock. There was a knock on the office door. Please come in. Lu Ming pushed the door open and walked in. The last time he had the idea of changing classes, he had been thinking about it. He had come here on Monday. Seeing that it was Lu Ming, Liang Hua's face immediately showed a fawning expression. She brought a chair for Lu Ming. Student Lu, is there something you need from teacher? Lu Ming had one hand in the bag of his school uniform. He didn't sit down and only threw out a few words. I want to change classes. It wasn't I'm thinking of. It was I want. Lu Ming had already made up his mind to go to Class 4, and he was too lazy to waste his breath on Liang Hua. Lu Ming's voice was not low, and he was also very close to the form teachers of Class 2 and Class 3. At this moment, it reached the ears of the two form teachers. They pricked up their ears. Their eyes were filled with interest. Liang Hua's face was a little stiff. Student Lu, did you say something wrong? Aren't you in Class 1? Before Qin Sheng came, Lu Ming had always tested with good results, and he was second only to Su Yishou. He was also Liang Hua's hope of getting the bonus this time. Liang Hua was unwilling to let Lu Ming leave Class 1 no matter what. Lu Ming glanced at Liang Hua. He did not respect Liang Hua like the students in Class 1. He did not give Liang Hua any face either. He said directly, I'm not wrong. I want to transfer out of Class 1. Liang Hua's face also turned cold. Lu Ming, the school is not your home. It's not something that you can transfer out of just because you want to. If Lu Ming really transferred out of Class 1, of the top 3, Class 1 was the best class, but it only took up 2 places. Where would she put her face? There would be no hope for her bonus. Lu Ming had an unruly look on his face. I'm just here to inform you that I'll look for the grade director for the details. Liang Hua was so angry that her chest heaved up and down vigorously. She pointed at Lu Ming and wanted to scold him, but Lu Ming's family background was so good that even the Qin family couldn't compare to it. Liang Hua could only hold back her words. She was holding her breath, neither up nor down. Lu Ming smiled and lowered his voice. Teacher Liang, I know about you and the dean. I'm warning you, don't play any tricks. Lu Ming knew that this matter was discovered by chance. Once, Liang Hua and Qin Sheng kissed in the small forest of the school and said a lot of coquettish things. When Lu Ming met them, he was disgusted. However, he was not a busybody, so he did not pay much attention to them. He did not expect that he would use this matter one day. Liang Hua's expression changed drastically, and her hands clenched into fists. She had hidden it well. But it was a third person. This was the third person who had discovered it. The form teacher of Class 3 smiled and asked, Student Lu, which class are you transferring to? Lu Ming was a genius with good grades. The form teacher of Class 3 naturally hoped that Lu Ming would transfer to her class. It would be a matter of pride if the news of a top 3 student in her class spread. However, she did not have much hope. Even though Lu Ming was transferred from Class 1, Class 2 was better than Class 3. There was an 80% chance that Lu Ming would transfer to Class 2. As for Class 4, the form teacher of Class 3 had not thought about it. Class 4 was the worst class. The students in it did not like to study. Usually, they would be noisy in class. This kind of noise would be contagious, and it would also make people who wanted to study unable to concentrate. The school also did not attach importance to Class 4. In all aspects, it was inferior to the other 3 classes. Only a fool would go to Class 4. As for Qin Sheng, when she went to Class 4, it was also because the other 3 classes did not want her. This was the reason why Lin Ke had picked up a loophole. The form teacher of Class 2 was overjoyed. Lu Ming had left Class 1. He was coming to Class 2. Unexpectedly, Lu Ming slowly spat out 2 words. Class 4. The form teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 looked at each other in confusion and disbelief. Lu Ming was going to Class 4? The worst class in Year 3? Liang Hua's face was completely frozen. Which class was the worst? Why did he have to go to Class 4? Going from the best class to the worst class, wasn't this saying that she wasn't good and was slapping her in the face? If the other teachers found out, what would they say about her behind her back? But she didn't dare to go against Lu Ming. His family background was good, and he also had a fatal hold on her. She didn't dare to provoke him. As soon as Lu Ming left the office, the form teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 began to mock her again. How is it? Teacher Liang, is it a surprise? This is the first time in H City High School that this has happened. The student transferred from Class 1 to Class 4, and it is at this juncture of the college entrance examination. I understand why Lu Ming left Class 1. After all, someone is famous for having a bad temper. If she has a bad temper, she will vent her anger on the students and treat the students as a punching bag. Her teaching standard is also bad. In the school, the person with the worst academic qualifications is her. I don't think any students will be willing to be taught by her. Although Lu Ming wanted to transfer to Class 4, the form teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 did not have any resentment toward Teacher Lin. Instead, they felt even happier in their hearts. Since they could displease Liang Hua, they could accept Lu Ming going to Class 4. Hearing their sarcasm, Liang Hua really wanted to pounce on them and fight with them. Liang Hua took a few deep breaths and stood up from her seat. I'm going to class. The form teachers of Class 2 and Class 3 sneered. After leaving the office, Lu Ming went straight to the grade teacher. Puh. The grade director had been drinking water. When he heard Lu Ming's words, he spat out a mouthful of water. Cough, cough. The grade director coughed twice and asked in surprise, Lu Ming, why do you want to go to Class 4? Class 1 is the class with the best results. The learning atmosphere is also good. Even the teachers are all good. Isn't it good to stay in Class 1? The grade director almost said, why do you want to leave Class 1 and go to Class 4? First, it was Qin Sheng, and then it was Lu Ming. They all wanted to go to Class 4 instead of Class 1. The grade director also wanted Lu Ming to stay in Class 1. Lu Ming was a good seedling with good results. The grade director was afraid that Lu Ming would be led astray by those little brats in Class 4. Lu Ming replied, Class 4 is better than Class 1. Class 4 is better? The grade director almost choked on his saliva. This was the first time he had heard someone say that Class 4 was better than Class 1. Almost all the top students in H City were gathered in Class 1. The students in Class 1 were all trying to get into Imperial Capital University and Beijing University. The usual students were all trying their best to get into Class 1. As for Class 4, they had always been looked down upon by others. Other than having a good family background, their grades were extremely poor. As high school students, they valued their grades more. In Lu Ming's eyes, Class 4 was better than Class 1. Lu Ming, in Class 1, they are all the best teachers. Their teaching resources are the best in H City. The grade director put down his cup and tried to persuade him earnestly. The grade director's mouth was dry. Lu Ming was lowering his head. His ears went in and out. The grade director drank a mouthful of water and asked, "I have already told you so much. Do you think it's better to stay in Class 1 now?" Lu Ming, go to Class 4. The grade director. Seeing Lu Ming's stubbornness, the grade director was helpless. He could only bring up Liang Hua. "Lu Ming, have you told your teacher?" "Lu Ming," she agreed. Grade director. According to Liang Hua's character, she was willing to let Lu Ming leave? Niai. The grade director was very suspicious of Lu Ming's words. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure," Lu Ming said very confidently. "Then wait a moment." The grade director made a phone call to Liang Hua to inquire. Liang Hua only answered yes on the phone and did not say anything else. The grade director could hear Liang Hua's unwilling tone. All right, it seemed that Lu Ming had used some kind of method to force Liang Hua to agree. No wonder Liang Hua was willing to let such a good seedling leave Class 1. Since Liang Hua had already agreed, he could not say anything more. However, there had to be one condition. Lu Ming. The grade director tried to negotiate with Lu Ming. "My only condition is that your grades cannot regress." Lu Ming nodded. "If I fall out of the top 5, you don't have to tell me. I'll move back to Class 1 myself." "Okay, that's fine. I'll settle the procedures for you. After that, you can move back to Class 4, the grade director said very kindly. However, Lu Ming couldn't wait any longer. He waved his hand and said, "Let's go after the procedures. I'll go back now to pack up my things and move back to Class 4. Grade director. He reached out and rubbed the space between his eyebrows. It was a headache. He didn't say anything else. He just waved his hand, indicating that he didn't want to see him anymore. Go out. A student with top grades, a rich and powerful family, and a handsome face, what else could he do? As long as he didn't do anything illegal, it was up to him. Thus, in front of the confused students in Class 1, Lu Ming quickly packed up his textbooks and hummed a song. Clearly, he was in a good mood. Lu Ming held his textbooks in his arms and looked at his desk mate. "Qin Feng, help me move my desk away." "Brother Lu, what are you doing?" Lu Ming smiled and said, "I'm going to Class 4. Qin Feng didn't react for a moment. When he did, he laughed and said, "Brother Lu, are you joking? Lu Ming going to Class 4? He would never believe it." Lu Ming's face darkened. "Move." Qin Feng. "So, Brother Lu, are you really going to Class 4? Why not?" Lu Ming glanced at him, his expression contemptuous. Luckily, he was in a good mood today. Normally, he would definitely teach this kid a lesson. "No, Brother Lu. Why did you go to Class 4? Isn't Class 4 famous for its bad results?" Qin Feng really couldn't figure out what Lu Ming was thinking. Class 4's grades are poor? Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. With Qin Sheng, the number 1, is it bad? Also, are you willing to stay in Class 1 and be nagged by Liang Hua? After Liang Hua was discovered to have an unclear relationship with Qin Sheng by the two form teachers, her temper became even more irritable. Early this morning, she gave them another huge blow. Thinking of the experience of being scolded by Liang Hua, Qin Feng felt envious. Suddenly, he also wanted to go to Class 4. He nodded with a face full of agreement. Lu Ming slapped the back of his deskmate's head. "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and move." Qin Feng covered his forehead and agreed, feeling wronged. Once Lu Ming left, the people in Class 1 exploded. Is this Lu Ming for real? Going to the worst Class 4? He probably won't lie about such things. Don't tell me. I want to go too. I heard that ever since Qin Sheng came, the atmosphere in Class 4 has been extremely good. It's not much different from our class. I once went to Class 4 too. At that time, it was the end of the class, and they were all engrossed in their studies. As for us, we were scolded by Lianghua all day long. In comparison, I also feel that Class 4 is the best. The other students all fell silent. Some of the students even had a look of agreement on their faces. After hearing what you said, I also thought of Class 4. Zhao Jia and Qin Shuru were deskmates. Now that she heard these words, she sneered and said, Class 4 is the worst class. Only people with unclear minds would think of going to Class 4. Enough, stop talking, Qin Shuru scolded impatiently. Now Qin Shuru was in a bad mood. When she heard Zhao Jia mumbling in her ear, she felt even more annoyed. Zhao Jia could only shut her mouth. She turned her head, and her expression was not very good. Her face was dark, and she felt very disdainful in her heart. Countless people were more outstanding than Qin Shuru. What was there to be proud of? If she was given the same family background, she could be 100 times more outstanding than Qin Shuru. Many people from Class 1 were still gathered together, discussing the matter of Lu Ming moving to Class 4. The more they talked, the more excited they became. They did not lower their voices. Does that ugly woman really think that we are punching bags? We are, after all, students of Class 1, and our grades are all top-notch. Also, with her teaching level, does she deserve to teach our Class 1? Sigh, to be honest, I also thought of Class 4. At this moment, the bell for class had rung. It was Lianghua's class. They were having a lively discussion, so they did not notice that it was already class, but the bell still rang for the second time. Lianghua came to the classroom door. Their words reached Lianghua's ears, and her face was very gloomy. The form teacher is here, someone shouted. A boy who was talking energetically turned his head stiffly and saw Lianghua looking at him with a gloomy face. The other students had already run back to their seats and were sitting upright. The boy's brain stopped working. He looked at the weather outside the window and said, "The weather today is really good, huh?" As he said that, he pretended as if nothing had happened and walked back to his seat. Lianghua was wearing a pair of high-heeled shoes, making clicking sounds. The hearts of all the students in Class 1 almost jumped out of their chests, and their faces tensed up. Bah! Lianghua threw the textbook onto the table heavily. She swept her gaze across all the students in Class 1 by one before her gaze finally landed on the boy's face. All of you were saying just now that you want to go to Class 4, right? My temper is bad? My teaching standards are poor? Lianghua's words landed heavily on the hearts of the students in Class 1. They all lowered their heads and did not dare to speak. Lianghua laughed coldly and said, "All right, don't you all want to go to Class 4? Then all of you come up and register. I'll arrange for all of you to go to Class 4. The entire class was so quiet that even the sound of a needle dropping could be heard. For a few minutes, not a single person made a sound. They did not like Lianghua and said that they wanted to go to Class 4, but if they really wanted to leave Class 1, they could not do it. After all, Class 1 had the best teaching resources in the entire school, and the learning atmosphere was thick. Another reason was that if they said that they were in Class 4, they would also be looked down upon by others. At this moment, they were all very nervous, especially that male student just now. He was even more worried that Lianghua would kick him out of Class 1. Seeing that they did not say anything, Lianghua's tone was very mocking. "See, all of you are cowards who dare to say but dare not do anything. If you want to leave Class 1, there are many people who want to enter. I'm not lacking in the few of you. If you want to leave, then leave quickly. If you don't, then stay here. This time, if you do badly in the exam, will me being your form teacher stop you? I'm scolding you. It's for your own good. All of you have to suffer for me." The students in Class 1 hated Lianghua so much that their faces turned red. However, no one dared to refute her. "Okay, let's start class now." Lianghua's face was dark. There was a reason why Lianghua dared to be so arrogant in Class 1. Almost all the students in Class 1 got in because of their grades. Other than Lu Ming's good family background, there was only Qin Shuru. Qin Shuru's family background was not ranked high in H City, and Lu Ming had never cared about anything in class. Liang Hua also thought that the others were not a threat to her. Naturally, in Class 1, Liang Hua did not suppress her temper. Over here, Lu Ming came to the vicinity of Class 4. He just happened to bump into Fu Hanchuan, who was coming to class. Lu Ming's face was full of surprise as he greeted Fu Hanchuan. Brother. Fu Hanchuan's eyes were fixed on him as he walked past him. Brother, brother. Lu Ming thought that he did not hear him and called out again. Fu Hanchuan stopped and looked at him. Lu Ming was delighted, thinking that Fu Hanchuan would pay attention to him. Unexpectedly, the next second, Fu Hanchuan said indifferently, "This classmate, I haven't seen you in Class 4. It's class time now. Go back to your class." Lu Ming. Was he really his dearest little brother? However, Lu Ming was still unwilling to give up. He smiled cheekily and was not annoyed by Fu Hanchuan's words. Brother, I'm in Class 4 now. Fu Hanchuan's expression changed slightly as his scrutinizing gaze landed on Lu Ming. Lu Ming felt a little cold. Fu Hanchuan retracted his gaze and stretched out his well-defined fingers to rub his forehead. He felt a headache coming on. His little girl was very outstanding. It was inevitable that many people would chase after her in the future. It seemed that he had to keep a close eye on her. She had to be his. If it was anyone else, they would have noticed Fu Hanchuan's different attitude, but Lu Ming had a big heart. Lu Ming said, "Brother, I can take better care of sister-in-law by coming to Class 4. I definitely won't let her lose a single hair." Fu Hanchuan glanced at Lu Ming coldly. Fu Hanchuan's lips curled into a smile. Lu Ming felt that it was a little creepy, so he took a few steps back. Fu Hanchuan lowered his voice, using only a voice that could be heard by the two of them. "I'll tell Grandpa that your 2 months' worth of pocket money is gone. Also, we don't have a relationship at school." Fu Hanchuan despised Lu Ming as much as he despised him. He came to school to protect Qin Sheng, so he didn't want to add another person who would drag him down. Lu Ming looked at Fu Hanchuan and touched the back of his head. Did he say anything wrong? His brother was unpredictable. Moreover, 2 months of pocket money, it really hurt. "Brother Lu, is the new English teacher from Class 4 your brother?" Qin Fang asked in confusion. Lu Ming glared at him. No. Did he still dare to say that he was his brother's younger brother? He might even lose a year's worth of pocket money. He did not dare to go up and provoke him. Otherwise, in the next year, he would be in deep trouble. Lu Ming's deskmate was a bookworm, so he did not suspect anything. He said with a simple and honest face, "That's right. He is Qin Sheng's brother. If you were his younger brother, then wouldn't you have a relationship with Qin Sheng? How is that possible?" Lu Ming. He could probably guess why his brother would not admit their relationship. Wasn't it just to protect his sister-in-law? His brother was really a guy who forgot loyalty at the sight of women. He even thought that his brother would become a monk in the future. Lu Ming's face was gloomy. He came to Class 4, stood at the door of Class 4, and shouted, "Report." All the students in Class 4 looked at him in unison.